Heyo, and what is up, gang? Thank you for checking out Sledgehammer TV tonight. 5 days away from the 2019 Royal Rumble, and thank God there's at least one show in the WWE that understands how to generate hype for one of the big 4 pay-per-views as we get ready to bring the hammer down on tonight's episode of SmackDown Live. My name is Nick Nightmare, and you are watching the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show's SmackDown Live review. Let's do it.
Sledgehammer Wrestling Show.
All right, wrestling fans, thank you so much for joining me as we continue on our way to the Royal Rumble. Was that so hard? Was it really so hard to do? SmackDown Live continues its tradition of just showing Monday Night Raw how bad they are at doing this wrestling thing. SmackDown Live almost knocked it out of the park tonight. This was a great show, especially as a go-home show for the Royal Rumble. They got everybody excited for everything that SmackDown Live is bringing to the table, while the rest of us are waiting for Raw to set the table so we can just take everything they gave us and throw it right in the trash and scrape it off the plate with your fork and getting every little last crumb of that Monday Night Raw grossness off of your plates, so that we could just enjoy what SmackDown Live is bringing to the table. Look at what we got tonight from SmackDown Live. They did very smart things with all of the major titles. Look at how they got everybody hyped now for Becky Lynch and Asuka, a match that was announced and then taken away and then announced again, and everybody was like, what the hell is going on? And we had very minimal time to build this thing. And now they took it to another level. They had these girls brawling in the back before things were all said and done. And now we can't wait to see what happens when the man gets in the ring with the Empress of Tomorrow this Sunday. That's how it's done. They did it again for the WWE Heavyweight Championship. Even Vince McMahon didn't drop the ball tonight. He huffled and puffled his way through. Mr. McMumbles. Right, he got all his words out without stumbling too much, and he did nothing to ruin a fantastic promo. His beats were perfect. Every time Vince McMahon interrupted, it seemed like he was getting on Vince's nerves, and he was just like, come on, damn it, let's get this over with. And he was pushing Daniel Bryan's buttons, and the planet's champion was on fire tonight. Daniel Bryan has embraced this role as this environmental terrorist, for lack of a better word. What else would you call him? He's just this psychotic uber, I help the earth. He's the new Captain Planet, so to speak, and Daniel Bryan has been fantastic. AJ Styles tonight was on the money, and what happened there? Very similar to what happened with the women. We ended up with a battle going on between these two guys, and the heat level just rose and rose and rose, and now we're all even more excited to see the new Daniel Bryan versus the real AJ Styles. It's all starting to come together. I'll even give them credit in a program that I could give 2 shits about. Everybody that watches this show on a weekly basis knows how much I hate the co-best in the world bullshit tag team of Shane McMahon and The Miz. I cannot stand it. But when you take a look at what they did tonight, what they put forth on tonight's SmackDown Live was good television. They continued on what they were doing from last week. They elevated it to another level, and the Bar came out looking like the legit tag team that they're supposed to be. Do you think Shane McMahon and The Miz will get the win this Sunday? That's what everybody's thinking right now. The Miz is the legitimized wrestler of the team. Shane McMahon, say what you want. He's not the best in the world at anything except for making my blood boil for thinking he's the best in the world of professional wrestling. But he's not the A member of this team. And if the Bar can so easily dismantle The Miz at the end of this night and give themselves the advantage going into Sunday, can they really overcome the odds? It makes it a little bit more intriguing. You care now. a little bit more about what's going to happen. Win or lose is another story. Do you want to see them win on a personal level? Absolutely not. There is no reason for them to be the next tag team champions of SmackDown Live. Absolutely not. But I like the step that they took tonight. I think it wasn't too much, and it wasn't overbearing, and it wasn't overdone, and I think it was done very well. Like I said, now, if like me, you were not interested, you're a little bit more intrigued just to see how this match ends up playing out. They may have me singing a different tune come Sunday night if the co-besties in the world end up being our new SmackDown Live champions. But that's a story for the preview and prediction shows, which will be coming up this weekend for everything Royal Rumble and NXT related on one of the biggest and best weekends of the year, which is Royal Rumble weekend. All these things that they were building towards was fantastic. I don't have very little to complain about. Look at the main event we got tonight. 2 out of 3 falls. Rey Mysterio versus Andrade Cien Almas. He will always be Andrade Cien Almas on this channel. I am not just going to shorten him to Andrade because he is absolutely great. Look at what we got in that match tonight. I went into this thing very skeptical because, first of all, I'm thinking, how could they not save this match? This match is going to be fantastic. It's going to blow away anything else that anybody's doing on the main roster, and it definitely delivered on those feelings that I had for it. Did it not for you? I know you guys were feeling that matchup. It was freaking great. It was absolutely great, and you're thinking, well, what's next? Like, as an analyst as I am, and maybe as a crazy wrestling fan as you guys are, you're probably thinking, well, this is a great match, but what are they going to do after this? How are they going to follow this up? And they ended it perfectly by not having it have a true conclusion. This is how wrestling is done. You have a 2 out of 3 falls match. The contest is tied at 1, and then towards the end, you have somebody else get involved that costs everybody everything, and now we have every reason to continue down the road with Rey Mysterio and Andrade Cien Almas, while at the same time allowing Samoa Joe to hype up and make his presence felt, make a statement for his entry into the Royal Rumble, and then follow that up with Randy Orton coming out of nowhere, telling everybody, hey, don't forget about me, I'm going to be in the Royal Rumble too, which we haven't seen Randy Orton in quite some time. And though I don't like the fact that he dispatched Samoa Joe so easily, it is an RKO. Like, I can't really complain too much about it. The guy came out of nowhere, as Randy Orton does, and took the moment from Samoa Joe, and some of you guys might hate that. Some of you guys might love that. I'm actually indifferent to it. I think as building towards the Royal Rumble, it's something that was unexpected. It was a great way to go off the air and leave intrigue for the Royal Rumble match. On top of everything, they got you excited. What are you going to do when Almas and Mysterio find themselves across the ring in the Royal Rumble? What is Samoa Joe going to do when Randy Orton's number is drawn and Samoa Joe's out there? Is he going to make a beeline for Randy Orton and just go straight for him? They have so many variables going into this Royal Rumble now that you can care about. There are stories within the Rumble all based off of one episode. Should this all have been being done a little bit more to this level in the weeks leading up to this? Absolutely. Absolutely. They're not getting a pass on everything else that they have done. This is what we should be getting on a weekly basis all the time. This show was nearly perfect. With the exception, like I said, you know, my personal feelings for The Miz and Shane McMahon, it is what it is, right? You guys probably enjoyed it a lot more than I did it, but to me it took the quality level down just for existing. Just for being a story and just for continuing on with this ridiculous gimmick that was born out of a pay-per-view full of controversy, and yet it's still being talked about on this day when we're trying to forget about the Crown Jewel event and everything that came attached to it. But we can't, because we're still walking around with this cup and we still got this tag team, and, you know, it is what it is. But we also got to come down on that women's matchup between Naomi and Mandy Rose. While I appreciate the effort, I didn't appreciate the pre-match promo. Why they didn't just have the regular WWE voice guy do that, I don't understand. We had to have some girl talking over this very poorly put together angle, like something you would see on YouTube, to be honest with you. It was like watching something off of WatchMojo.com, and you have this girl just telling you the top 10 reasons why Mandy Rose is trying to get Jimmy Uso from Naomi, instead of just showing a decent promo package. It was a little amateurish, and it kind of made me laugh more than take it seriously, and the matchup also made me laugh. And I couldn't take it serious, because the only thing this match showed to me was just how out of her league Mandy Rose is when placed against a Naomi. Say what you want. You might love her because she's the Golden Goddess. You might think she's the hottest thing since sliced bread. I could care less what she looks like. When she gets in the ring and performs at the level she performed tonight, I can't help but come down on the girl. I feel like she's afraid to get hurt. She looks trepidatious. She looks like she's telegraphing the move before it even gets to her so that she could try to endure minimal impact. How do you not know how to take a face buster? It's a simple thing. The girl grabs your hair, you drop to your face. Somehow Mandy Rose landed on her knees and didn't really get it right, and you got Corey Graves fumbling all over himself trying to sell the move as if that's what Naomi meant to do. Oh, she got Mandy Rose high up on the shoulder, I think. No, Mandy Rose botched it. Open your eyes, Corey Graves. Stop seeing her for her curves and all of her golden goddessness and call it for what it is. That was a mistake. That was a mistake. She missed it. She missed it. And it wasn't Naomi's fault, and that would happen multiple times during this matchup. Multiple times. Mandy Rose missing her mark, missing the beat, so to speak, and then gets the win in the most unlikely fashion. A very underwhelming manner. Naomi gets head first into the ring post, right? And then she falls awkwardly onto the apron instead of onto the floor to the outside. Mandy kind of struggles to get her back into the ring and then covers her and gets a 3 count. I didn't think that impact into the steel post was enough to keep somebody out for 3 seconds, especially given the amount of time it took her to get her back into the ring. That's just me being a technical person, and I don't feel like Mandy Rose should have got the win in this situation, especially since she's, kind of in the wrong here. We all know what she's doing. We all know why she's doing it. She's not actually trying to sleep with Jimmy Uso. She's just acting this way to get under the skin of Naomi and try to dim her glow just a little bit. But this match tonight did what? It made Mandy Rose look terrible. Naomi loses, so now she looks terrible. And then Jimmy Uso comes out to try to console his boo, and she don't want to hear it. She ain't having it. She's like, nah, I'm okay. I'm okay. And he's just like loving her from afar. He gives her a little kiss on the head, and then he's just like standing behind her, clapping. Where are we going with this? How much further are we going to take this? Is Mandy Rose going to be content? Is she going to continue on with these ridiculous, passes at Jimmy Uso? And what is she going to gain from it now? She got her win over Naomi. What would be the point of going forward with this? I thought Naomi should have got the win in this scenario, and then you could have had this continue on, because Mandy Rose would be pissed, and now she would continue to just do whatever it is it's going to take to get that win over Naomi, even if it's going to drive her insane and put a giant wedge in her marriage. That would make sense. What we got tonight didn't make sense. And why Sonya Deville, despite kind of showing, even in backstage segments, that she's not really down with what Mandy Rose is doing, to be involved in this matchup and cause a distraction, leading to Naomi getting hit in the head with the ring post in the first place. Just, it's tiresome. It's the same complaint that I have with the Riot Squad. Let Mandy Rose be whatever it is you want her to be on her own, and take Sonya Deville away. Sometimes less is more, and in this case, I think Mandy Rose would be a whole lot more if you lessen the package and just have her do things on her own. Not needing Sonya Deville, which is a relic of absolution, which is something from an era we are all trying to forget about, right? It's supposed to be a new era with change. So why don't we change things up and start it right there? The same way like I talked about how you could fix the Riot Squad. And if you missed that episode of Bringing the Hammer Down this past weekend, where we focused on How We Could Fix the Riot Squad. It will be linked in the annotations for you guys, so make sure you check it out as soon as we're finished up here with SmackDown Live. So let's go from top to bottom and get through this card together. Becky Lynch started off the show. The man kicked things off and got the crowd hot right from the start. She immediately was talking about how she feels like she should be in the main event at WrestleMania, and that's going to start not in the Royal Rumble where it should be starting this year for Becky Lynch, but that's another story for another day as well, but by taking down Asuka and taking back her SmackDown Live Women's Championship. Great open. Great open. Asuka then comes out, starts doing a little bit of this, right? Doing a little dancing with the title. I don't know what that shit was all about, but, you know, that's what Asuka brought to the table tonight. A lot of yelling and screaming and a little bit of this. So, you know, good for Asuka. And then Charlotte Flair. Now, part of me wants to come down on this just because why does the WWE feel the need to always have to put Charlotte Flair next to the championship? The woman is going to be in the Royal Rumble. I think she was deserving of her own segment away from Becky Lynch, away from all of that. So when Charlotte Flair was talking about winning the Royal Rumble and making history and being a Flair and all this shit that she likes to say, she wouldn't have been hit with the Becky, Becky, Becky chants. She wouldn't have had two people in the ring that had more attention of the crowd than she did. And Charlotte Flair is still kind of being portrayed in this babyface manner, but now she's kind of talking and walking a lot like a heel, if you ask me. So she's kind of skirting that same line of Becky Lynch, where we don't really know what to call them right now. And the fact that Becky Lynch is not in the Royal Rumble only makes it even more predictable to me that Charlotte Flair is most likely going to be our winner of the Royal Rumble for the women this year, so that she can be in the main event of WrestleMania. And as far as the rest of the segment, it was great. You know, Charlotte's purpose in this segment was to get their blood boiling, get underneath the skin of both of these girls, and she did exactly that. And it was great, and it got them fired up to the point where they started beating the hell out of each other in the middle of the ring. This would end up backstage. This brawl between these two would get so intense it would continue into the back through the commercial break into the next segment, and it was just a great way to kick off the show. I really did enjoy it, and now we are psyched. You've got to be psyched, if you weren't already, for Becky Lynch versus Asuka at the Royal Rumble. Then we have Mandy Rose with Sonya Deville defeating Naomi, which we just talked about. Jimmy Uso came out to console his boo after the loss. Who gives a shit really anymore? What are they going to do with it? I don't know. And as of right now, I don't care. They better make it interesting. We had an interview with Rey Mysterio, and I loved this interview. It kind of was a throwback to the days when they did awesome things like have these guys talk into the camera, not look at the floor, not have to interact with some Kayla Braxton 2.0 robot android lady person. Just talk to the camera like I'm talking to you guys. Look at the red light and go. And Rey Mysterio, being a veteran, doing what we tell you guys all the times, that a veteran shows up on one of these shows and is given a live microphone or some sort of TV time in a promo style. They just put these kids to shame. And why they're not trying to teach the next generation how to deliver a promo like Rey Mysterio delivered tonight to Andrade Cien Almas, I will never know. But it was flawless. His delivery was excellent. His point was great. He said that he was gaining so much respect for Andrade during that great match they were having on SmackDown Live last week, but then he had to revert to those stupid tactics and have Zelina Vega get involved. And now Zelina Vega will not be involved tonight, and you do not just get respect, you have to earn respect. It was beautiful. Beautifully done, and there needs to be more stuff like this in the WWE, and this is what they should be teaching these kids to do and showing it to the world once they have it nailed down. It was done in one take and it was perfect. Absolutely great. Cesaro with Sheamus defeats The Miz with Shane McMahon. Cesaro, it looked fantastic. He came right out like a house on fire, just uppercutting the shit out of The Miz, just repeated uppercuts one after the other, putting himself in the advantaged position early on in this matchup. But it was an entertaining match. I'm not going to really shit on it too much. I really could care less, like we touched upon earlier. But Cesaro came out with the win in this situation after hitting the neutralizer onto The Miz, and then the attack would continue on the outside as they put The Miz through a table along with Shane McMahon as well, and it was very, very good. What else was very good tonight was the video package they did for Mustafa Ali. This is what I'm talking about. More stuff like this, please. This is what is missing from pro wrestling. This is what's going to get people that are on the shelf with a guy like Mustafa Ali. They see him week in and week out. He's putting matches on that are absolutely great. But then you see a package like this and you're like, wow, I like this kid. You're going to either connect with him or you're going to be like, no thanks, next please. And I can respect either opinion, but how can you not love Mustafa Ali? And that video package was fantastic as he was trying to take down Samoa Joe in that package as well. Talking about seeing the truth in Joe's eyes, and his eyes tell the whole story, and Joe will see that Ali knows that he could beat him when he looks Ali in his eyes. Fantastic stuff. Great, great stuff. We see Vince McMahon looking over at the monitor to see his boy Shane McMahon all messed up outside the table. Who cares? I didn't give a shit about this. Vince then came to the ring for the face-to-face with AJ Styles and Daniel Bryan, which we talked about already. It was fantastic. This anti-person version of Daniel Bryan, the new Daniel Bryan, just was on fire tonight, man. I can't even repeat to you guys half the stuff he talked about as far as pertaining to AJ Styles, because one of the clearest and best parts of this night was when Daniel Bryan turned his attack to the owner of the company, Vince McMahon, calling him out for being a baby boomer, the generation that started this living in excess world that we are now a part of, all of the mass consumption, and saying that he's like a puppet master and the people are all his puppets. Everything he said was dead on. He said the people love you for it, and you put on this show. You consume all of this stuff, and they come here and they bow down to you. Meanwhile, you're soaking up all the wealth. You're soaking up all the power. And these people bow to you for it. And that's why he is not the people's champion, but he is the champion of the planet. He's the planet's champion. I thought that was one of the best lines I've ever heard. And calling out Vince McMahon on all his bullshit in this storyline angle was great. Vince didn't even know what to do. All he kept telling him was, come on, get in the ring and let's get this over with. And then finally, AJ Styles would bring this tirade of Daniel Bryan's to an end. If you missed that section of SmackDown Live, that is, above all else, you have got to see Daniel Bryan's interview from tonight. It was great. It was almost as good as the 2 out of 3 Falls main event tonight. Definitely must-see TV from the new Daniel Bryan, our WWE champion. Fantastic stuff. AJ Styles at one point saying, if the planet had a voice, Daniel Bryan, it would tell you to shut up. Right? Alright? AJ Styles might have been a little corny, but he was spot on, and then he was ready. And he was ready to take on Daniel Bryan on this night. He turned to Vince McMahon. He's like, listen, if a face-to-face is what you want, a face-to-face is what I'm going to give you. That doesn't mean it has to happen here in this ring. And then AJ Styles went on the attack. It was fantastic. It was great. Daniel Bryan then hit the running knee on Styles after. This was a great part of this whole segment as well. AJ Styles went to go hit the phenomenal forearm, but Daniel Bryan would put Vince McMahon in his way. I don't know why I keep wanting to say Shane McMahon. He would put Vince McMahon in between himself and AJ Styles, causing just enough distance and just enough of a separation between them to deliver that running knee on AJ Styles, and Daniel Bryan would walk away clutching his beloved championship, getting the one-up on the phenomenal one on this episode of SmackDown Live, leading to the Royal Rumble. How are you not more excited? And Vince didn't ruin it. Let's take it both as a win, because it definitely was. In the back, we have R-Truth and Carmella. I love me some R-Truth. The guy was very entertaining tonight. Some of the stuff the man says is just completely off the wall, and this was kind of unnecessary, as this the only reason for this to exist was to have Carmella walking down the hallway so she could then run back into Charlotte Flair. So Charlotte Flair could reiterate everything that she already said to us earlier in the night for some reason, and then that is it. So why that couldn't have been Charlotte Flair's only interaction on the night, I don't know. Why she had to be involved in the opening segment as a heater, I don't know. I think they could have done without her in the beginning, especially if we were going to see her say the exact same thing she said the first time, only about an hour and a half later. That's just me. That's my point, and I'm sticking to it. Samoa Joe defeats Mustafa Ali in a surprisingly very good match. Now, I'm saying surprisingly good match because I didn't expect them to give this match that much time to develop into something, but they did. Just that. Samoa Joe was firmly in control for the most part of this matchup. Mustafa Ali had a lot of great spots, and he did come close to a couple of near falls, but he would get wrapped up in the coquina clutch by the end of this thing and tap out to the Samoan submission machine, who was on a mission tonight to prove his worth and stake his claim to the Royal Rumble. Great match. Great match. Even the New Day was good tonight. In the back, we had the New Day talking to Kofi Kingston about his past Royal Rumble entries, and Kofi Kingston is nervous about not being able to come up with something for this year, and then all of a sudden he has an idea. Kayla Braxton wants to know if he's going to share, and of course he's not going to share his information. And then all of a sudden Tony Chimel comes out of nowhere, and they're yelling at him, "Tony Chimel, get out of here! Is Edge here? No, Edge is not here! So you should not be here. Go! Get out of here!" Completely random, completely out of nowhere, absolutely hysterical. Then the New Day, the three of them are harmonizing the word, no, no, or whatever it was they were singing to Kayla Braxton. And you know what I figured out from watching this? Take away the stupid pancakes and the cereal boxes and the horn and all the nonsense that the New Day brings to the ring, and these guys are still just as charismatic as ever. They don't need all of this extra fluff and stuff, and they were actually more funny to me. They were funnier than they've ever been in this instance on this night, as the three of them are working as a cohesive unit to win the Royal Rumble, which isn't going to happen. It's far-fetched. I look forward to seeing Kofi Kingston's actions every single year at the Royal Rumble. I expect this year to be no different, especially now since he put a little bit of hype on it. So now we're all going to be ready for it, so he better have something up his sleeve or he's going to disappoint thousands of us who are now going to be waiting for this special Kingston classic Royal Rumble moment. This was great, and when the New Day can come out and not get me pissed off, then you know I'm having a great time on SmackDown Live tonight. Despite Mandy Rose. Absolutely great. And then we had the 2 out of 3 falls matchup, which ended without a winner, which was the way you had to end this matchup, thanks to Samoa Joe, and then, of course, Randy Orton to follow. A couple of key moments in this matchup that have to be talked about. At one point in this matchup, Andrade Cien Almas had Rey Mysterio in a powerbomb position, seated onto the top rope with his feet on the second rope. He then would stand up on the second rope in the corner, and then step up to the top rope while holding Rey Mysterio the whole entire time, and then execute a seated powerbomb from the top rope. Unbelievable. Unbelievable stuff. I couldn't believe it. And it scored the first fall of the match and then would get the advantage to Andrade right from the start of this thing. But before you know it, Andrade Cien Almas, finally given the clear to continue the match by the referee, would immediately go on the attack, hit a slingshot powerbomb to Rey Mysterio for a near 2 fall, and then he would pick up Rey Mysterio for yet another powerbomb, but Rey would somehow turn a powerbomb position into a Canadian Destroyer, which is the second time in 2 weeks that I've seen a Canadian Destroyer, and I don't think my wrestling soul can handle it. It's one of my favorite moves in all of wrestling, and tonight is one of the reasons why. He made that move literally come out of nowhere, just like a Randy Orton RKO, and that was flawless and beautifully executed, and a great way to tie this matchup back even in such a quick and dramatic fashion, with still almost 10 minutes remaining before the show was left to go off the air. Fantastic. And then the action would just heat up. There were so many near falls. Rey Mysterio hit the West Coast pop, almost got a near fall out of that. These guys were flying all over the place. They did not relent. They were high octane the whole way through, right up until Samoa Joe would stick his nose in where it didn't belong, pulls Rey Mysterio off the apron, gives him a powerbomb onto the steel ring, the sides of the ring, which are made of steel. Best way to describe that, I guess. Friggin' fantastic. Then he would attack Andrade Cien Almas and go on to once again lock the Coquina Clutch on Rey Mysterio. He then would release Mysterio from the torturous hold, take the microphone, and start to cut a promo saying this is what he is going to do to all 29 others this Sunday at the Royal Rumble. He promised he was going to win the Royal Rumble this Sunday when the RKO out of nowhere was hit once again by Randy Orton, who just went in the corner, did his little Randy Orton pose, and now we are all left wanting for more, which is exactly how it's done, as this Sunday the Royal Rumble will be coming to us live from Phoenix, Arizona, Sunday starting at 5 p.m. with a kickoff show, which is how we are going to end this show, because sadly enough, I thought Rusev was supposed to be on the show tonight, but I guess not. I guess that was scrapped. And I guess once they announced tonight that the United States Championship matchup, a matchup that has been featured on the television storylines in the last couple of weeks, has been given a lot of time to build into, has now been relegated to the kickoff show. So that's how much the WWE really gives a shit about Rusev and or Nakamura and or the United States Championship. And on that note, they put a fantastic fatal four-way for the Cruiserweight Championship featuring 4 of the finest athletes the 205 Live division has ever seen on the pre-show as well. Why do we have to do this? Why can't we have the pre-show from 5 to 6 and then start the Royal Rumble at 6 o'clock? Have room for these 2 matchups. What is the difference? You're expecting the crowd to be there anyway, right? So make the start time 6 p.m. Have all of the matches on the Royal Rumble. Why do we have to have a pre-show match? Why do you need to have a 2-hour pre-show? I got to sit there and listen to these 5 people yammer and stammer all over themselves and try to be funny. Jerry the King Lawler's going to be there, so I'm already out because he's not the same Jerry the King Lawler that he used to be. JBL's going to be there. Give me another reason to not want to fucking tune in. No, thank you. These 2 guys take every chance that they can to start to try to work on their comedy. You know, and try to be that funny guy in the booth. And they are just wretched, awful. They don't take anything seriously. And JBL, who likes JBL anymore? Nobody does. So I got to sit there and listen to these idiots go on and on just so that I can watch the Cruiserweight Championship matchup and then the United States Championship for Rusev and Shinsuke. Come on, man. That's not fair. That's not fair to these guys at all. They need to come up with a better way to do that shit. Just get rid of the pre-show altogether. And at the very least, you should have had them have the match tonight then. If you weren't going to have them on the Royal Rumble, it should have been on the go-home show for the Royal Rumble. And then they could be free to be in the Royal Rumble. Are they still going to be free to be in the Royal Rumble? Is that why it's going to be on the kickoff show? Are all 6 of these men that are going to be on the kickoff show able to be part of the Royal Rumble later on that night? That'll be the only way I would give forgiveness. Not like any of them are going to win it anyway. But we'll talk about winners and losers in the Royal Rumble this weekend on the Royal Rumble preview and prediction show. Also, there will be the NXT TakeOver Phoenix preview and prediction show. So make sure you guys are here all weekend long, as Sledgehammer TV is your source for all your Royal Rumble news that you will need all weekend long. Best way not to miss out on any of that is to make sure that you are one of the members of the biggest, fastest rising and smartest and coolest, hippest, biggest gathering of awesome wrestling fans on the internet. We are nearly 12,000 strong, but we are the best community in all of the wrestling communities anywhere in the internet, and they reside in the Sledgehammer Club, which is right here on Sledgehammer TV. All you got to do is hit that subscribe button right now. Why you haven't done that up until this point, I'll never know. Thank you to all of you guys that continue to be the influx of subscribers that we have had over the last couple of weeks, as we are so near that 1,200 mark. We can go over it probably just with you. So make sure you hit that subscribe button right now so you don't miss a thing all weekend long for Royal Rumble weekend, as we get on the road to WrestleMania immediately following that, with the Elimination Chamber to follow. You don't want to miss anything we got going on here on this channel, and that's the best way to stay informed. Smash that like button if you enjoyed today's show, and then share this video with each and every one of your wrestling buddies all over the wrestling world, especially if they had a great time watching SmackDown Live tonight and found a good reason to be excited for the Royal Rumble this Sunday. You guys can do all that for me, would be absolutely fantastic. And then, if you forgot, I have to let you guys know that this show is brought to you by Audible. Audible is our fine sponsor, and they have books that speak to you because you don't want to touch books with your fingers. And that's fine. I don't like using my fingers on certain things sometimes either, if you get my drift. However, it's a great way to get your knowledge on. You could get books on, not books on tape. We don't use tape anymore. Everything's digital now. But you will get a free audiobook in any category that you want. You want to pick up a new language. You want a little self-help, some help speaking, some motivational stuff. They got you covered there. You want your pro wrestling fix? They got you covered there as well, as you see right here on the screen. They got plenty of great fiction books, non-fiction, science fiction, any kind of fiction, probably some fan fiction if you look hard enough. Who knows? But whatever tickles your fancy, you can find it at Audible. And you can sign up right now at audibletrial.com/sledgehammertv and get your free audiobook. Check out the 30-day free trial. Cancel it before it gets to 30 days, and you can still keep that book for the rest of your life. If you've already signed up and are a member of Audible, then take this link and send it to someone you love, and then send them to us. Say, hey, check it out, my buddy Nick Nightmare is giving away free books. All you gotta do is go to audibletrial.com/sledgehammertv and you can get one. Sign up for 30 days, cancel if you gotta, and you got a book. Don't cost you a fucking dime. It's fantastic. Thank you guys so much for being here. Don't forget to check us out all weekend long, because we got you covered as always. And if you missed our Riot Squad special, the debut episode of Bringing the Hammer Down, it's here in the annotations. If you missed last night's hammering of Monday Night Raw review, it will be there as well. Make sure you check that one out. It was a good one, and a lot of hammers were being dropped on that last night on that one, is what I meant to say. I'm tired. It's been a long 3 days, and we are going to wrap this one up. Love you guys so much. Continue to comment down in the comment section below. It makes my day reading what you guys have to say. And don't forget to let me know what you think you're going to see happening this Sunday at the Royal Rumble. My name is Nick Nightmare. This is my team, Thor the Sledgehammer, the wrestling god of thunder, and the official sledgehammer of the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show, fools! Is he a rubber mallet? Of course he's a fucking rubber mallet. But this rubber mallet is my sledgehammer, you ass bags. And the fact of the matter is, if I took an actual sledgehammer into this office, which is about the size of a cardboard box within my house, I wouldn't have a studio left at the end of a taping. So stop being idiots, stop being so literal, and have a little fun with us, because this is Thor the Sledgehammer, the official sledgehammer of the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show, and the wrestling god of thunder. Show respect, fools. And this is his tag team partner, the World Heavyweight Champion of all the microphones in all the world, Mr. Blue the Snowball. You guys, as always, are the most important member of the team, so make sure you name yourselves. You know who you are, and that, my friends, is going to do it. And we are out of here, and we will see you all Royal Rumble week long right here on your new favorite wrestling show, the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show, only on Sledgehammer TV. Eat it.